without
Oh,
you.
it started. Hey, so we decided to do for our special music video. It's actually just a podcast of us explaining the album. So today we're joined with Alex, who is a who is a producer and songwriter. We're joined by myself, who I'm a producer and a songwriter, and I'm also on the album. Alex is also on the album a little bit. You'll see him. He's in Niobium and Way Too Brown. Yeah, and then we also have Ishan, who is the star, Ishu baby in the house. Ishu, would you like to take over?
Yeah. So this is the biggest project that has ever been made by Ishu Baby, me. It was definitely not just made by me. It was made by all of these people and so many others. And I thank you all so much for everything that you guys have done to make this. I know I have made like broken promises in the past, but uh, I wasn't able to keep them. But uh, these guys are the reasons that this album is being put out, and these guys are the reasons that I'm making an album. Um, I just wanted to say that uh, although this album may be kind of short and it may not have any new songs, we spend a lot of time trying to perfect the new songs and make them as good as they can be. So that's why uh, that's why it took a while. We've been working diligently trying to get people to feature on the album. Um, we've gotten a few features. We have Brendouma in Apex. Also have David up in Taiwan. So hi, David. Um, that's it.
Okay, yeah. So we'd like to start talking about the song. So first, we can talk about. We'll just go in the order of the track list. So would you like to explain your inspiration for intro and why you chose the content of intro?
So intro was a beat that I made back in 2020, like November 2020. It was a fire beat that I thought was amazing, and I wanted it to be the intro for this song. I've been working on this album for 5 months. Uh,
So what inspired you to write intro?
I guess you could say that what inspired me to write intro is how everybody around me is like really, really focused on getting the bag, getting the cash, not really taking much time to think about themselves and how they perceive the world. And I feel like it's good to take a little bit of time. And
Let's move on to the next song, which is Mecca. So how did you choose the naming for the song and its significance?
Mecca is a very spiritual place. Although I am not Muslim myself, I know many other Muslims in the world dream of going to Mecca, and I feel like it's just a beautiful place where there's a lot of unity, and I feel like that's why I chose the name Mecca.
So can you explain a little bit about what the song Mecca is about?
Mecca is about trying new things and just pretty much it's about new experiences. Uh, New experiences with money, new experiences with music, like my reference to Lil Tecca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thank you for that. Personally, Mecca is one of my favorite songs, even though I didn't like hear it until recently, but it's really good. Um, so the next song is Way Too Brown. So can you talk about why you decided to make a song about you being brown and what inspired you to do this?
It's also another part of my identity. I'm Indian. I'm a brown kid. So uh, Way Too Brown is kind of just celebrating my identity as a person of Indian descent.
Okay, cool. And then the next song, which is also a really fun song, which is Go to Hell, featuring Brendouma and Apex. So what is your take on the song, and why did you name it Go to Hell, and what is its meaning? Without exposing
I
it.
feel like it's more of a it's more of a song that calls out specific groups of people who will go and bully and harass other people, and it's just calling them out for being annoying.
So can you elaborate on why you named it Go to Hell?
I named it Go to Hell because it's kind of a play on my last name. A lot of people used to call me Ishan Go to Hell because my last name is Go Hell. Although it is very mean, I kind of took that identity and ran with it and just named my song Go to Hell because of that.
Yeah, I think it's great that you have a song about bullying and like standing above that, and how you took something that people used to bully you about and turned that into something like a really good song. And then also one of my favorite songs, the next one is Niobium featuring Apex and David.
So this song is actually a tribute to my chemistry teacher, Dr. Rossi. If you're watching this, this is a tribute to you, celebrating the idea that I'm part of the element niobium at basis. Some of you people from basis may know this, but basis has different elements. They separate the classes into different types of elements. And in 8th grade, they had niobium and palladium. I was a niobium, so I was kind of representing niobium in that song.
Yeah, I think it's a really creative and interesting song. So the next song on your track list is Hydro Flask. So can you elaborate on why you named it Hydro Flask and what it's about?
So Hydro Flask was actually a placeholder. It was I have a Hydro Flask water bottle right here. I looked at it. I'm like, I'm just gonna name this Hydro Flask for the time being, and then we'll come up with the title later on. We never came up with the title later on. It was just called Hydro Flask.
Can you elaborate a little more on what Hydro Flask is about?
Oh, yeah. Hydro Flask is about, of course, my girlfriend at the time. I never had a girlfriend. Just saying, just putting that out there. And I'm completely single. Ladies, please hit me up. I'm completely single, but this is about my imaginary girlfriend in this album who cheats on me with another guy. And I get a call from my friend saying that she cheated with another guy. And now I have to be on the phone with that person, and then all of a sudden all of the stuff that I talked about earlier is shattered because wow, my girlfriend just cheated on me, pretty much.
So
that's obviously a very deep and personal storyline for you.
So
not really personal, but
yeah, it's very interesting. So the next song you have on the track, immediately following up your Hydro Flask song, is called Buffoon. So can you explain if this what kind of song this is and why you made
it? So this song is actually me calling my ex, being on the phone, like thinking that it's my fault that my girlfriend broke up with me, calling her to confront her about the situation. She doesn't pick up and it goes to voicemail. And then I start my poem. And it's like 36 seconds long. It's just an interlude, but it has a lot of meaning behind it.
Yeah, that certainly is very interesting. So the last and final track on the normal album is Blue Ford. Can you elaborate on why you named it Blue Ford and what inspired you to do it and what is it about?
So I named it Blue Ford because they're usually really nice, and it's kind of a tribute to the fact that I saw my ex driving in a blue Ford. I named it Blue Ford because that's the object that like is the center of all of this. Like somebody was driving my ex was driving a blue Ford with the person that they're cheating on me with in the back.
So how would you say that, like it's a really interesting storyline that you just throw into the album. So how would you say like this either leads into the next album, or why'd you leave us on this sour note?
This actually does lead me into the next album. What I'm thinking is from here on out, it's going to be kind of like a storyline. So like I will be releasing like little singles, which are like snippets that are teasing the next album, and the next album will have the sequel to all of this mess. And there is a reason why I left you guys on a cliffhanger. There is a reason why I left on such a sour note, because there is a follow-up.
So before we end off, do you have any messages you want to say to all your listeners?
Thank you so much for listening to the album. We definitely do love and appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me. To the people at Basis, thank you for supporting me all throughout since January. To the people at Moreau, thank you for the continued support that I've had, even though we're all new to the school. Thank you, everyone.
And can't wait to see you guys for our next album.
This is Brendouma signing out.
Okay, so now we're going to do some fun facts and our favorite lines. So a fun fact about Intro was he was just in his bathroom and he was crying alone on the floor because he didn't have any friends. And so he wrote the song in his notes app, in his phone. Okay, next one. Now we have Mecca. Alex, would you like to say a fun fact about Mecca?
Yeah, so a fun fact about Mecca is Ishu Baby actually came up with the idea of Bangkok buying his newest $30 million mansion in Beverly Hills, and he was on the bathroom, and he was in the bathroom.
You
he
got it all wrong. The
fired.
$30 million mansion was in Sioux Falls, not Beverly Hills.
Oh, my bad. But he was sitting in the bathroom and he looked at the sink and the toilet, and he got really inspired to write this song. So,
Mom is here.
Isha, would you? Okay, we're leaving.
Okay, we will do the rest of this podcast. Bye bye.
Yeah, you can do the rest of this podcast by yourself. Just
okay, let's continue. Anyway, what's your favorite lines from Mecca?
So my favorite line.
We'll let him in.
Just don't say anything weird, okay?
Okay, we'll say what we want. Goodbye, Ishan. Okay. Okay, go. What's your favorite line from Mecca?
So I think my favorite line would have to be bars on these.
You just keep moving. Okay, yeah, my favorite line will also have to be bars on these.
Now, bye.
Bye, Isha. Okay. That's also my favorite line. But it's a fun fact about Way Too Brown.
Ishan actually got inspired to make this song when making cupcakes when he burned them. So instead of golden brown, they turned way too brown. And this was during his fundraiser for his newest dating event, hosted by his girlfriend, Isha.
This is another Isha Fitzman. Okay, next song. So now we have Go to Hell, which is it's a really good song. So I'll say a fun fact about this song. So actually, Ishan was having a terrible nightmare where he was transported to Italy, and he was by the Colosseum, but he was a gladiator. He was fighting all the bullies he had been with, who had bullied him before, right? So he was fighting them, and then he came up with these lines because he was just fighting them. He was like, you know what? You can go to hell, you know? So that's the fun fact, and then we started writing the song based on that dream. So Alex, what's your favorite line from this song?
My favorite line would have to be bars on these bars on these bars.
Bars on these bars on these.
Give me just 2 fun facts. I don't know any of these lines.
Alex needs to go eat dinner, so he isn't actually gonna go to dinner. Oh, also just a fun fact, like my part in the song wasn't supposed to be there. It was just a recording so that Ishan knew how to rap the song, but then we just kept it in because I don't think Ishan did it. He thought he didn't have to do it because Ishan's always late on recorded. Secret fun fact, Ishan would never let me say. He's always late on recording, and that's why the album came out so late, because we have to tell Ishan to record like every 2 days until he does it. And to get him to record, you have to either like be with him or like you have to be on a call with him so that he actually does it. Otherwise, he won't do it. So that's why my part's there. It's because I was recording it so that Ishan knew how to do it, and then they just kept it in because Ishan didn't record it again. So that's a fun fact. And I'll tell you a secret that Ishan definitely doesn't want you to hear. It's about Blue Ford. I know, so shocking. Like the storyline, did he just come up with it? No. It is true, you guys. When he went to Sioux Falls, I don't know where it is, but where his mansion is, he met this girl, okay? And this girl is like, she's like beautiful and she's rich and she's like amazing, you know, like I've seen the pictures, don't worry, trust me on this, okay? And then she was in the park, just walking the park, and Ishan saw her from his mansion. So he hops in his Lamborghini and drives up down to the park where she is, because like he's like, I have to meet her. And he like just like races in, he stops the car next to her and he's like, hey girl, do you want to hop into my car? No, he didn't say it like that. No. He was like, hey, I think you're really beautiful. Do you want my number? Or like, can I have your number? You know, he was like super sweet about it. He wasn't like weird or anything. And she was like, no, she thought he was weird. She was like, no. And she walked away. And he was like, oh man, I just scared her in my pink Lamborghini. I mean, like, obviously pink Lamborghini, Nicki Minaj. Anyway, obviously he scared her, because who pulls up in a pink Lamborghini asking for your number? I too would run away. Anyway, so he went back to his house and he was like, you know, I shouldn't have done that. I should have been like, you know, just walked up to her and been more kind. But anyway, so he went to the grocery market the other day. No, after it, he went to Trader Joe's and he was buying the spinach dip because he's really into spinach. Just a by the way, unknown fact about Ishan, he loves spinach just so much. He loves spinach. He just loves spinach so much that he had to go and buy 4 packs. So he had already gone to the grocery store like 2 days before, but he just needed to buy more spinach dip. So he went to the grocery store and he was like pulling his car, and he's a little bit sad because, you know, he's really lonely up in Sioux Falls. You know, no one's there with him. So he's in the mart and he saw her right in the back of her hair with this long, beautiful brown hair. He was like, oh my God, is that her? And he's like trying to be like super like, you know, like sneaky about it, like trying to see if it's her, because he doesn't know. He doesn't want to just walk up to a random woman and like apologize for what he did. He has to make sure it's her. So he like starts walking in the front and like looks to the side, and then she sees him and she's like mad, and she like turns around and walks away. And Ishan was like, oh my God, I just ruined my chances with this girl. Anyway, so he ruined his chances with the girl, you know, but then she actually was trying to get a cab home when it started raining in Sioux Falls. And Ishan was kind enough to bring an umbrella because he he knew it was going to rain. His mother called him and was like, hey, it's going to rain in Sioux Falls. You better go get an umbrella. So he was like, hey, he was like talking to her and he was like, hey, would you like this umbrella? Like, I get that I make you uncomfortable, like have this umbrella. And she was like, thank you. So she took the umbrella and she walked off, right? And Ishan was like, at least I did a good deed, you know, at least I made her day. And so he continues his day, and then 2 weeks later, it is coming up to the end of summer, and he's going to come back from Sioux Falls back to the Bay Area because, you know, that's just his summer home. His mansion is just his summer home. So anyway, he's doing that, and then, you know, he's about to leave. He's going to board a ship back. Yeah, the ship's going to go through the ocean everywhere. You know, planes are just too expensive these days. He has his own yacht. He might as well take it. So he was there, and then he sees the girl at the dock as well. And she was like getting on this really shady, shabby ship for like an 18-hour, you know, ship ride. And she was like, hey, like, I don't mean to make you uncomfortable, but, you know, that's a little bit dangerous. And like, this company is known for being sketchy. Like, you might not make it, you know, on this boat company. So she's like, yeah, thank you so much. Like, yeah, you make me a little uncomfortable, but it's okay, you know? So they both got in the, yeah, and like he minded his own business. He just like gave her a ride home back to the Bay Area. And little do you know, she lives up in Cupertino High School. Yes, she lives in Cupertino High School, in the school she lives. And then so he, you know, so they conversed, and they like talked a little bit on the boat ride because, you know, you're on an 18-hour boat ride, you might as well talk a little bit. So they did that, and so they got to know each other a little bit, and they exchanged the numbers. Now, Ishan forgot about her for a little bit because he was like, you know, he has other things to do. He's a little bit of a busy man, just a little bit, and he had school and everything, as you all probably know. So he kind of forgot about her. Then one day he gets a call from her, right? And she's like sobbing, and she's like, hey, like, I know like it's not the best time, like if it's all right, I just don't have anyone to call because I'm so lonely. And then so he's talking to her, and he realizes that like she's super rich, but she has no friends because she's just been traveling from Sioux Falls back to the Bay Area, but she's like lives in a school, so she never gets the chance to make friends because everyone thinks she's a weirdo, which she a little bit is, but it's okay, right? So she's a little bit rich, and she's like crying on the phone. And Ishan's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, where are you? And he goes to go pick her up, and she's actually by the Hollywood sign. So he drives all the way down to LA and picks her up from the Hollywood sign and drives back up to the Bay Area. And you know, something's so yeah, and then so, you know, they hit it off and they start to talk to each other a little bit, and then they start dating before you know it. Like, honestly, I don't know what happened in between that. That's the story I've heard. And then yeah, so they're a great couple and everything. She was, you know, she had to go back to Sioux Falls a lot, so you know, I didn't get to meet her much, but she actually hung out with Ishan not too often, to be honest, because she did have to go to Sioux Falls and she did live in a school. So they met like once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. And honestly, I think that's where their relationship started to drop. And I think that's where she decided to leave him, honestly. And she was never picky about being rich. She was already rich herself. She was an independent woman. And I think that's really important because, you know, a blue Ford, she seems like someone who might be a gold digger, but she's not. Like, she's driving a blue, she's getting into a car with someone with a blue Ford. And honestly, though she did cheat on Ishan, I mean, is Ishan that great? Anyway, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, so she did cheat on Ishan, which was terrible, honestly. It was so sad. And actually, the part where I'm talking in song about like me saying like, hey, Ishan, I got some news for you, that's an actual voice memo. You can look it up on Ishan's phone. We have the receipts. Yeah, and I even sing the part in the voice memo. But yeah, so we just dropped it in there and then made the beat work with it because it was already there. So yeah. But yeah, that was kind of the story about it. And then Ishan was actually really upset about it. But he was upset about it for like 2 weeks, and then he was fine. He got over it. I know, so fast, right? Okay, Alex is back.
You're really exposing me.
How long have you been here?
Since I left.
What? Did you hear the whole story?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so.
I did not hear the whole story.
Okay, we're gonna keep the whole story in there. Yeah, okay, that's all. Thank you all for showing up to our podcast, even though Ishan couldn't come to it.
That's quite rude of him.
Yeah, follow our Instagram, Ibn Battuta Records, right? Is that what it's called?
Yes, Ibn Battuta Records on Instagram.
And to see more updates about it. And yeah, thank you. Goodbye.